Have you ever been drunk or high and came up with this truly amazing idea but then became sober and realized it wasn't as amazing as you thought it was? If so, what was the idea? Turn signals on grocery carts. I made a soup sandwich while really high before. The soup obviously just destroyed the bread's integrity and just fell out the sandwich. That was the first time in my life I realized just how dumb I am. Don't be so hard on yourself. I mean, bread bowls exist. Basically the same thing. Okay, hear me out. Go to your local bar and get plastered. Then go to LensCrafters and get your eyes checked. They will fix your double and blurry vision and give you a pair of glasses. So when you get drunk again you can put on your, wait for it, drunk goggles. I thought it would be practical if you would have a tag with your address written on it attached to your keys, so if you ever lost them they can be sent back. Seemed brilliant to me. Thieves might enjoy this idea as well. Once, while thoroughly drunk, I ordered a pizza and it arrived overcooked. Crust was like dried asphalt and the toppings blackened and singed. So I pitched the idea to my other drunk buddies that pizza places should let their customers control the pizza ovens through the internet, so we can decide when it's done. Which then lead to an entire design your own pizza machine website combo, where one could control exactly how much of each ingredient to add using robotic arms, and you could watch it cook live through an oven cam. Seemed brilliant at the time. When a football match goes into extra time, they should add a second ball. If it gets to halftime without anyone scoring, they add a third ball. I'm actually not sure this idea is a bad one. I was on acid and had a revelation that I had to make the next Google. I have no idea what it means to be the next Google, but regardless it felt like the best idea in the world. The feeling of checking my notes app the next day for the grand idea I had and seeing be the next Google was hilarious. Beer rocks. When drinking at an outdoor place, using plastic cups, you put fancy rocks in your beers so the cups don't blow over. Genius! Mine was similar. The theory was, the top half of the cup of beer tastes better than the bottom half. So we make cups that have the bottom half already full of something else. We invented smaller cups. I was thinking that kids these days need more time on the road to be better drivers, so maybe Uber should partner with driving education groups and subsidize them or pay the kids in college bonds or whatever. Yeah, maybe hiring a bunch of terrible drivers for your taxi services isn't such a great idea. LOL, this is great. Hi, my name's Kyle, I'm 14, this is my mom, so where you headed today? Once while high, my friends came up with an online call center for people who have anxiety while high to call. It was named TripAdvisor. I thought of something that I thought was the funniest shit. A video or comic where one guy takes a pepper packet, opens it, and pours it into his eyes. When his friend starts freaking out, he goes, "Haha, tricked you, it's actually salt." Sugar bags. Like tea bags but for sugar. Tea and 2 sugars? 1 tea bag, 2 sugar bags. As we were stoned as fuck, my cousin holding up an emptied tea bag filled with sugar and me trying to carefully tie it back up with a piece of cotton. My cousin disappointingly says sugar cubes. One time when I was tripping, I wrote down this whole page of numbers and swore it was the answer. The answer to what I don't know, LOL. I just kept saying, it's all about the digits. Yep, pre-melted cheese. I was so baked, my idea was pre-melted cheese, like a boil-in-the-bag rice. But for cheese, like a block of cheddar cheese, in a sandwich bag and boiled till molten, and then it stayed molten. Like didn't solidify and I could just pour it on stuff. Like I was so high, I literally forgot all the aforementioned products existed, and though I was going to be a fucking millionaire, then started to talk with my friends about where I should live, be it LA or New York, in a penthouse suite, and have a butler and maids and shit. Then I came to after passing out at some point, and I remember the entire conversation and think, holy fucking god, I'm a fucking moron. Hear me out. We melt the cheese then freeze it. Then anytime you want melted cheese you just pop it in the microwave for a couple of minutes. Usually I make big plans that cost a lot of money and then promise sober people that we will do them. So they start to look forward to the plans. I sober up and regret all of my decisions yet still have to follow through. Most recent was that I promised my sister that I'd bring my daughter to visit her in Florida. $2,000 later, I have a sunburn. Always do sober what you said you'd do drunk. That will teach you to keep your mouth shut. 1. Ernest Hemingway. A food truck specializing in egg rolls the size of burritos. While taking what I thought was acid and turned out to be a 25 N-bomb, I was beyond confident that I had not only finally understand the truest, deepest secret of the universe, but that I had distilled the idea into an image that could be drawn out. I was certain that with that image I could remember everything about the true universal secrets when I came down. The next day I looked at the paper, and it was a line with a circle on each end, like a dumbbell. I have no idea what it means. When taking DMT on acid, I had a trip where I flew into space, saw the entire universe on a cosmic wall, and heard what the meaning of life was. When I opened my eyes, I wrote down the meaning to life in my phone. After sobering up, I looked at my notepad and all I wrote down was walls. Without divisions between things, aka walls, everything would just be one big one thing, and none of the universe would exist. Life as we know it happens because matter and energy are able to be discrete pieces kept separate from each other. Boom. Done. I have a running note on my phone with my ideas I have while intoxicated. I think my best one is, what if there was a Queer Eye spin-off called Third Eye, where hippies and conspiracy theorists try to awaken people who are already happy with their lives. Most of them are just dumb with such highlights as, future math will be cool, and, there's a lot of cute animal behavior. One of my philosophy professors told a joke about a philosopher having a dream in which he met Socrates, but quickly saw the proper rebuttal to his views, which Socrates conceded. Then he met Aristotle, and Descartes, and Kant, and Nietzsche, and Mill, and with each of them presented his contrary positions successfully. He knew he was dreaming, but he thought, I have to wake up enough to write this down. He managed to become conscious enough that he quickly scrawled the words down on some paper, then fell asleep again. The next morning he woke up, remembered what had happened, and excitedly grabbed the note. It read, "Yeah, that's what you say." Oh God, I did something similar. I was having a dream where I felt like the secrets of the universe were being revealed to me, and I had gained some irreplaceable piece of wisdom that would change my life forever. I woke up, in my half-asleep blurry sleepiness, grabbed my phone and opened my notes app to write down this critical knowledge. In the morning I vaguely remembered the dream, convinced that there on my notes app would be the key to life and the universe. All it said was, "The age of the worm shop is infinite." One time I woke up in the middle of the night with an idea. A revolutionary idea. Something I needed to write down as fast as possible so I wouldn't forget. So I wrote it down and went back to sleep. I woke up, looked at the piece of paper, and all it said was, "Pencil mini wheats." I've never quite figured out what I was thinking. Maybe it was like Tide Pods for changing your oil? Instead of dealing with messy bottles and funnels, just pop a handful of oil pods and to confuse the hell out of anyone who tries disassembling your motor to unseize it. My friend is a lawyer, and when he was in law school did a summer internship to Ghana studying international law. We were like two blunts deep, and he came up with the brilliant idea to make chairs in Ghana because everyone he saw there was just sitting on the ground. He was convinced we could have made a fortune selling chairs. In my first year of engineering in uni, one of the design projects was to come up with a chair made of cardboard. The idea was to make a chair supportive and comfortable enough, whilst also being easy to assemble by cutting out shapes on a large piece of cardboard so as to keep the shipping costs low. The winning design was supposed to be implemented, and if my memory serves correctly, the initial pilot program was going to be for a small community in Ghana. I ran upstairs and yelled at my husband, "Why don't they make mittens for feet?" And he said, "You mean socks?" And I said, "Oh yeah, socks." Not me, but Paul McCartney. The first time he got high, he apparently discovered the meaning of life and immediately went to write it down. When he woke up the next morning, he looked at the paper and it said, "There are 7 levels." My creative writing tutor had a comedian friend who kept dreaming about telling the world's funniest joke. He'd get a standing ovation every time, and he toured the world on this one joke. But when he woke up, he could never remember it. One night, he kept a notepad next to his bed, woke from the dream and scribbled down the joke. Got up the next morning, looked at the page, and it said, "I am a hammer." As teenagers, my friend and I used to get really stoned and go sit in this particular diner for hours and drink coffee until we sobered up. One time 2 cops in uniform came in and sat down a few tables away and ordered some food. At first we were kind of paranoid, but they didn't seem to be paying us any attention. My friend was the type of guy who liked to do wacky shit just to be funny, especially on a dare. He was also a big proponent of marijuana legalization. Like, he talked about it all the time. I told him I thought it would be hilarious to go up and ask the cops their thoughts on marijuana legalization. We were both still pretty baked, and he thought it was a funny idea too, so on a whim he decided to do it. He took off his jacket and set it on the bench next to him, and walked calmly over to their table and began talking with them. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but the conversation appeared to be polite and lasted a minute or two. He came back to the table with a big stone grin on his face. "Ah man, those cops seem okay to me. They both said they think weed should be legal and it's a waste of their time to go after pot smokers." A little while later the cops finished their food and left. One of them even smiled and nodded to my friend on the way out. We watched them get into their patrol car and drive out of the parking lot. We stayed for about another half hour and then left to catch the bus home. We got to the bus stop, and just as we both lit up a cigarette, a cop car pulled up with the same two cops inside. They had been sitting in the parking lot next door with their lights off waiting for us to come out of the diner. We obviously weren't old enough to be smoking cigarettes, and a check of our IDs confirmed that. They searched both of us and found a 5-sack of weed and a pipe in my friend's jacket. We both got tickets for underage smoking. He got cited for the pipe and marijuana, was given a court date, and taken home to his parents in the back of a police car. The whole story seemed so heartwarming and wholesome till you got caught. Hope it turned out alright in the end. He later renounced drugs and became a hardcore evangelical Christian. Ah geez, the story keeps getting worse. What was your idea? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.